So Sky Williams got himself in a little bit of trouble, and honestly, this is one of the weirder situations I've seen when it comes down to one of these cancellations, because, I mean, just the whole subject matter, I guess, just seems really weird. It's just not really something I ever saw coming. I mean, Sky Williams, he's been around in the community for a very long time at this point. I don't even know how long it's been, but I mean, I can remember him pretty much as far back as I really can remember, it seems like. Now, Sky has been exposed for doing a lot of very shady, weird, and manipulative things over time, and, you know, we're gonna go through it all, of course, but it's hard to read, and it's kind of hard to understand, because it really doesn't seem like it would even be real. But I mean, this definitely seems pretty real. The person who I guess came out with this whole thing, they have evidence behind it. I'm gonna link the Google Doc down below so you can access it too. There's a lot of proof, there's a lot of video clips and images and things. And then Sky Williams got on stream last night, and he kind of made a fool out of himself, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, I guess, you know, when these kinds of accusations get brought out against you, I bet that that's realistically the way that you would kind of react in that situation. But before we get into the video, I do want to go ahead and remind you guys that if you are enjoying the content, to please make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like down below, and of course, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated with everything that I'm doing, you can follow me over at Twitter, at @SubToptimus. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So this is a 7-page Google Doc that kind of just brings out the entire vibe. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Sky Williams kind of ran these houses where dozens of people would stay at a time, including a lot of like Smash players, people working on YouTube careers and things like that. So he would charge them rent and whatnot to stay in his house, and apparently there was 4 different locations that this all kind of took place at. And the person who lived at the Sky House here, who came out with all this information, apparently lived there from 2014 to 2018. So a bunch of stuff has come out, though, besides this Google Doc about the experience that a lot of people had in Sky Williams' house, and it's been pretty rough, you know, kind of seeing a lot of this stuff, because, like I said, Sky Williams, he's been around in the community for such a long time at this point, and it just, you know, it never seemed like something like this would happen, and I know that's kind of how, like, the whole situation is with a lot of these circumstances, where people just don't really expect for them to be this kind of person and to be doing these kinds of things, but apparently, you know, sometimes your perception of somebody is just off, and it is a lot different than what the person turns out to be. So I guess we'll start here with the rules first, okay? So there was 2 main rules, number 1 being do not in any circumstance wake up Sky Williams, and number 2, you must notify Sky about any of the guests that you intend to have visit the house. Now apparently these rules were very tight kept, and they were important to Sky to the point in which he would literally kind of hold people's rent over their heads and he would threaten them. There's a screenshot attached of what appears to be like a house chat or something like that, where a bunch of the members of the house were in this whole thing or whatever. And Sky Williams says something about stepping on boardwalk while he has a hotel on it, not sure what that's supposed to mean, but then he continues with, I'm not gonna name names at all, and I will keep this vague. If people there and would like to confess, I don't mind. My goal isn't about any individuals. I saw a guest today. A guest I was not warned about in any facet of media with no receipts. Between the hours of 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., I will be breaking something of value in each of your rooms as I had clearly instructed from the house meeting. Or I can get a $350 cash, no PayPal, no Chase Quick Pay, on my desk and to me before 6 a.m. This is final. There are no exceptions. Someone by the name of Spawn of Death gives a sad face, and then Sky continues the entire thing with, hide your valuable things if you must, but I will find a way. Best of luck to you all. I'll be here waiting. There should not be any questions as my words are direct and clear. Nobody is exempt, not even people who pay rent. You may physically stop me, but if I feel like I can't beat you in a fight, I will just call the police and have you escorted away. And I'm sure that you all know I'm not kidding. Anyway, 6 o'clock a.m. $350, good luck. And then he leaves the group. I mean, I think we can all agree that this is just psychotic. I can't really think of any situation in which Sky would have any reason to behave the way that he is in this screenshot. Of course, you know, the point can be made that, oh, it's just a screenshot that can be easily manipulated and photoshopped and things like that. And that is a fair point, but I mean, given all of the other evidence that this person has come forward with, I don't honestly, at least personally, see this being a fake story or being fake information here. And I mean, this is just psychotic behavior. Even if somebody did something severe, I don't even know what they could have done to, I guess, warrant this type of reaction or type of behavior here. But even if they did something like that, obviously he doesn't have the right to just go around destroying people's property because he feels upset. And I mean, just kind of holding people's money and their property over their head like that is just borderline, like, mental. You know what I'm saying? Actually, no, it is mental. I can't think once again of a situation in which this would be, like, appropriate behavior or acceptable under any circumstances. I mean, if it is so bad that, like, you know, you feel like you have to react this way, you can just evict the person who did whatever it was that you found just unworthy or whatever. I mean, I don't really think that this is something that you should be doing. I don't think that this is appropriate behavior really in any situation. But the Google Doc goes on to describe how there was essentially this social hierarchy inside of the house. Of course, there were people who paid rent and whatnot, but there was tiers to the rent, and there was also people, including, I believe, the original poster, who were living there for free. And kind of based on whether or not you could pay more money and get on Sky's good side, or just be on his good side to begin with, there was kind of like this hierarchy with Sky Williams being at the top. If you had enough money to keep him at bay or whatever, or you had these really good ideas that he could use for whatever reason, including, I would believe, his own personal gains, then you would be kind of in this higher tier upper echelon in the house, and Sky would just treat you better than the rest of the people. Now, the people who were his editors and, like, they assisted him around the house and whatnot, he would call workers. Basically not even really addressing them as people who live in the house, or, you know, are just people who are kind of this big collective family or whatever you want to consider them in this house. He was kind of the person who made all the decisions in the house because he was at the top of this social hierarchy. He was kind of like the king of the house or whatever in a lot of ways. Now, apparently the rent in this place was split depending on, like, the size of the room and whatnot and how many people were around and things like that, but basically speaking, this social hierarchy really kicked in here in a lot of ways, because if somebody who was considered upper echelon in the house, or Sky himself, didn't like you or they had an issue with what you were doing, Sky would charge you more to live there, which in my opinion is just mind-boggling on how, like, this hierarchy really broke down. It's crazy to think about, but communication in the house was also pretty odd. Now, they had these house chats or whatever via Facebook Messenger, and it was nicknamed the house chat. Now, there were a couple of people in the house who were apparently just not even invited into this chat, so I mean, this is kind of where that social hierarchy seems to kick back in. I guess if you weren't considered high enough to be inside of this chat, you just weren't in it. A few people were also apparently kicked. They also had house meetings, which would basically be Sky having these in-person meetings, which pretty much everyone inside of the house was supposed to attend. Now, when these were brought up, they usually had a topic behind them. There would be like a drama or whatnot going on that needed to be quote-unquote resolved. But apparently nothing really even happened during these, because the topics would just get derailed and the discussion would completely turn into a 180 into a completely different direction. And then there was also secret chats where just a few people, select housemates and whatnot, would be invited into these groups. Now apparently most of these were temporary, but still, pretty much everybody kept to themselves inside of this residence, and if people did kind of talk, it was to go on food runs, or to smoke, or to play Smash, or just watch movies. Now, apparently residents of the house were used to him waking everybody up blasting YouTube Poops or American Dad episodes. I'm being very serious. Now, when it came down to, like, who was addressed by what, apparently people were even addressed by, like, just their real names or their Smash tags or spirit animal nicknames that were given to them by Sky Williams. Apparently he also gave some racially motivated nicknames to people, which, I mean, who knows what they were, I guess. Apparently a lot of really messed up shit, I guess, was kind of discussed in a lot of the chats and whatnot around the house. There was essentially no privacy whatsoever. I mean, once again, we're talking like 20 people living in 2-bedroom apartments and whatnot, so, you know, 8 people to a room, kind of crazy things like that, I guess, but people were pretty scared of Sky during this entire time, according to the messages and whatnot, and the Google Docs here, I guess, because obviously they kind of just let him treat everybody like crap, and that he just kind of ruled like a tyrant throughout the house and whatnot for this whole time. Everybody was just afraid to go ahead and go against him because obviously he's got their rent over their head. He basically houses them and whatnot. He has all the say in the decisions around the house. He's at the top of the social hierarchy, so if you get on his bad side, you know, you're going to probably have bad motivations against you from, like, some of the higher echelon people. Now, apparently this even went as far one time when somebody decided to try and go against Sky for something that he said or did, and he decided to pour an entire bottle of Coke all over the floor in a bit of rage. Now, this isn't even really the half of it, I guess. This is just some of the things that apparently went on and Sky did horribly in trying to address on his Twitch stream last night. Apparently, the stream was going so bad that the chat was essentially rallying against him. He had to end up putting it into sub mode, making people pay to even talk in the chat. And then, I guess one of his roommates decided to unplug the router, according to one of the moderators of the stream, to get him to shut up. I don't know. But, yeah, that's how bad that entire situation kind of went for him. But I mean, even if you consider all this, there's still the fact of the matter that, like, a bunch of allegations have been made that happened apparently in this house that Sky says he had no idea about. People like Jisoo, Smash Caps, and several others at this point have spoken out about some very traumatizing experiences. to say the least, that went down in this house. Once again, Sky says that he knows nothing about this, but I mean, from what we're hearing here, where there's like this social hierarchy and there's gossiping and these secret chats and there's information being spread around through, in-house meetings, and there's like an upper echelon of people that kind of, I guess, govern over the bottom tier people of the household, it seems to me a little bit unlikely that Sky Williams didn't know about this stuff. Now, I can't 100% say he didn't know, because I guess it is possible at the end of the day that a lot of things went on behind his back that he didn't know about, but I mean, once again, it just seems really odd and convenient that he doesn't know about these things going on when, there's all these stories coming out about the things that he was doing and how he basically had oversight over everything going on. Now, Sky Williams is currently, at least as of me recording this, trending on Twitter. This is the only Google Doc I've ever seen so far in my life in which it has so much traffic that Google put up a notification about the tools being unavailable because of it. And a lot of people are just calling for Sky Williams to be totally canceled and whatnot. Now, the whole thing that's come out here is very disgusting, right? I mean, all this information, it's messed up. I mean, Sky Williams has been exposed with a lot of proof, and the proof goes as deep as a deleted and now re-uploaded video of someone even telling a story about that Coca-Cola experience. And now Sky Williams is kind of like trying to deny it and push everything back. So, now that all this stuff is coming out and a lot of people's opinions are changing about Sky Williams, I mean, is it the end of his career? I have no idea. But I'm just here to tell you guys what's going on. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubTheOptimus, make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members, your support helps my channel tremendously, and until my next video guys, this is Optimus, talking about Sky Williams, and signing out.